Hey, it's Rager in a quick crypto update today. Urgent news as Bitcoin and crypto has pulled back substantially today because of inflation data that came out. So was this the Bitcoin top? Was this the top for crypto? I want to go ahead and tell you what I think and why I think you can actually be encouraged. If you want to know why, go ahead and keep watching. And if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure that you do so below. Each and every week, I'm giving up crypto updates, especially in urgent times like right now. So let's go ahead and get into the information. Nothing is financial advice. This is, of course, my opinion, but we did have a lot of red today. So if you're a trader or investor, naturally, you do not like the color red, especially when we've had such an uptrend bull market over the past few weeks. Bitcoin hit in $100 billion, was wiped out from the crypto market in the past 24 hours. And so we've recently seen a slight bounce, but I want to go ahead and get into why did this actually happen? And that's because unless you live under a rock, you know that inflation news in the United States came out hot today. It actually came out high inflation from the core PPI up 0.9%, far exceeding expectations. And so that actually shook investor confidence. And so what you want to know was that the market was pricing in 100% chance of Federal Reserve rate cuts in September. And because of this high inflation, people were worried immediately that, oh no, high inflation, the Fed is not going to cut rates. And so you saw this market pullback, just dump happen in crypto. And if you look at this, this is quite ugly. Of course, we hit from 124,000 for Bitcoin, dropped down to currently at around 118, but we dropped as low as 117. And so that is about a 5 to 6% pullback overall, which means whenever Bitcoin pulls back 5 to 6%, you're going to get double to triple that in altcoins. So we saw around a 10 to 12% pullback in a lot of altcoins. Ethereum specifically was not looking so hot over the past few hours. We saw around a 12% pullback for Ethereum. And this is what I want you to know. I don't want you to be worried. And this is why. When risk on assets dump like this because of news, it's because people think that with the news, specifically about inflation, they think that, okay, with this hot inflation, as I said earlier, we're not going to get rate cuts. But this is what I want you to know. If you go ahead and go to the Fed Watch, the CME group, which basically predicts the chances and the target rate probabilities, we went from 100% to not 50%, not 40 or 30%, no, to 92% currently. So 92% is still a really, really good chance that the Federal Reserve is going to cut rates in September. And so if you go to the stock market, typically Bitcoin tends to follow the stock market correlation. And if you look at the stock market for the daily chart, look what happened. What do you see there? Is it red? No, it's green. The stock market actually ended up closing green even though this news came out of high inflation, which goes to show with the stock market even closing green, it's likely that we're going to see a bounce with Bitcoin here in the next couple of days going into the weekend, potentially, is what I predict. And so currently right now with Bitcoin, we do have a pullback. We do have a small bounce, but we still have a ways to go. And so we do want to get back up over the previous range here. And so that was with the daily overall 120 is where we want to see Bitcoin get back above to feel a little bit more comfortable, at least on the daily chart. So this overall bearish engulfing candle, which means the candle's a lot bigger, closes. Now the daily close isn't closed yet, but it's going to close red. It's going to be a bearish engulfing. So does that necessarily mean that the next couple of days is going to be red? No, it's not. Now, if you look at the overall Bitcoin liquidation history here, you're going to notice that we had over $880 million in liquidations as far as the longs go. So that is a ton of money. That is a ton of liquidations. And only one other day since February have we had more liquidations on longs than today? And that was actually back on July 31st, just a few weeks ago. So you have to understand. Now, what happened after that? You're probably going to ask. Another day or so of red, and then the market ripped up from 112 to 124,000 for Bitcoin, for the price of Bitcoin. So now Ethereum, if you want to go ahead and if we were to look at that, if we go to the daily chart, look what happened to Ethereum. So Ethereum went from 3,300 to 4,700 in that time after those liquidations. So there is room to be positive here. And so was this the actual top? It's hard to say, but what I can tell you is that we're probably going to have a pretty good bounce here tomorrow after such a pullback. So what I want to do is I want to look and see how stocks react the next day. So on Friday, let's watch and see how stocks react by the end of the day. If you're watching this on Friday, great. Let's see how stocks close on this day as we go into the weekend. And if Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Chainlink, all the majors can rally, because that's what's going to be important, is to see how stock markets react. And if the stock market continues to show strength, and if the Fed watch continues to show 90% plus for Fed rate cuts here in the next month, I think that things are going to be okay, and we should get a nice bounce here in the coming day or days for Bitcoin in the overall crypto market. We've even seen that with crypto market lower caps. We saw a lot of the smaller caps already bounce pretty hard. We've had some outliers here. So if you're a small cap an on-chain trader, then you've also seen some green here over the past day. But overall, crypto still looks okay. We're at some key levels when it comes to the daily, the intraday 4-hour chart for Solana, for Chainlink. You see for Chainlink as well, it had a pretty big bounce, around 50% bounce over the last week or so. And so this run up 50% in price, this pullback of 12%, is not that bad. And actually too, if you were to go ahead and put the line on the daily support level, it looks like Chainlink is going to close above that. So again, it doesn't look too bad overall when it comes to this pullback. We do know historically Bitcoin will pull back anywhere from 20 to 30%, sometimes even 40% in bullish market environments. Now, we did expect that over the next month would be a sell the news event, and in September we'll see a pullback. I think that still comes, but I do think that there is a potential rally at play. And so when I say rally, if I were to go ahead and go to the 4-hour chart, maybe we see something similar to like this, where price goes and eventually goes back up over the course of the coming days to weeks. This is just my prediction. This could have been a high, but I do think that if anything, we'll see a bounce in the coming days. Then what we'll do is we'll come back here in the next few days, then reevaluate where things are. But I think for now, we'll see a bounce. And anything beyond that is just speculation. So this is pure speculation right here, that we could eventually see a break of the previous high and then eventually break back down from there. But we'll see. Overall, things are looking red in the market, but we're seeing signs of a bounce right now. So that's the key for now. And what I want you to stay focused on is the short term, because we can speculate all day. That's not going to get us anywhere. So short term, we should see a bounce. I want to see how Bitcoin reacts overnight. Want to see how stocks react tomorrow on Friday. And if the stock market acts good and if Bitcoin is likely to follow. And I think that this 10 to 12% pullback on a lot of altcoins, 5% pullback on Bitcoin actually is quite healthy, as long as we can stay above the previous range, which was the line in the sand was here, which acted as support and resistance for so long. And you're going to notice, what are you going to notice? Bitcoin actually bounced right off that level, okay? So because of that, I do feel good, and I do feel good about any longs that people got in down here around 117. It's probably going to end up being a pretty good trade. So bottom line, stay encouraged. We do see that though inflation was hot, the Fed Watch CME group, 92% chance probability of Fed rate cuts. Hopefully, stock markets, the crypto market overall, continues to ride up here in the coming days to week. and then we can reevaluate from there and see if that sell the news event actually happens or if crypto does pull back a little bit early. We're yet to see. So with that said, you guys just understand that's what I'm looking for right now. We'll be back for some more updates here in the coming days. You guys make sure to have a great rest of your day. Trade safe, and I will see you on the next one.